Trading ideas for the week of May 9th, 2022. It has been a quiet year. With the week that we had last week, it seems like this week will be a week of calmness because it was action-packed last week, and with the earnings season winding down, and as far as we already had our FOMC meeting, we had our employment numbers out. So this week was not going to be as action-packed as last week, but there's still quite a few things coming up, especially in the inflation front. So speaking of that, Monday we start with Mexico's inflation rate, and then we will have the Great Britain and Australia with the retail sales. The earnings, still there's some earnings left, and they could be exciting. We have Palantir and Tyson Foods that will come up before the open on Monday. And then after the close, we have the AMC, Plug, Blink, and we have Upstart. So interesting combination of companies coming up after the close. On Tuesday, Turkey and South Korea will have their unemployment rate. Brazil will have the retail sales as well as also car production and registration. Germany will have economic sentiment index and also inflation rate. And China also will come up with their inflation rate on Tuesday. So you can see there's a common theme with inflation rates. On Tuesday, before the opening, we have Peloton with their earnings, and after the close, we have the Roblox and Coinbase, which will be interesting to see what Coinbase has to say, especially with the cryptocurrencies as far as the earning goes. On Wednesday, that's a biggie in the United States. Again, we're talking about inflation rates, and the US will have their CPI numbers, as well as Brazil will have their inflation rate. United Kingdom, Great Britain will have their GDP, and China will have their vehicle sales. Now, I want to pay attention in Europe. We have the European Central Bank President Lagarde. She will have a speech. Now, this week we'll have many of the Fed presidents and the central bank presidents around the world speaking, from Australia to Great Britain to obviously Europe. You want to pay attention, and many of them around the United States. So we want to pay attention to that. Also Wednesday at 7:30 Pacific Coast time, we'll have the crude oil inventories. Earnings before the open would be Yeti, and after the close, this is a biggie as well, Disneyland, especially what has happened with Netflix. Obviously, the markets are going to watch this. Beyond Meat and Rivian will also have their earnings. On Thursday, following up on our Wednesday's theme of the consumer price index, now we have the producer price index, the PPI in the United States. Brazil will have their business confidence. And again, the theme of inflation rate, we have India, Argentina, and France. They have the inflation rate. Now, Saudi Arabia will have their OPEC monthly report. As you recall, last Thursday, we had the OPEC and non-OPEC ministers meeting in Saudi Arabia, deciding to, as of June, to come out with about 438 million barrels a day, trying to help to at least help out with the supply shortage with Russia. As always, we have our gold trade on Thursday, and the earnings, we have BABA before the open. Now, BABA is all over as far as their earning reports. Some suggesting it will be May 9th, some suggesting it would be May 24th, 26th, but it's actually on the 12th, so we want to watch for that. And the team of Upstart, we have Affirm. It will come after the close. So we end the week on Friday. Again, there's not a lot going on economically in the United States. We have the Michigan consumer expectation, the preliminary numbers. Turkey will have the retail sales, and Spain and Russia, again, with the inflation rate. And you can see this is a common theme globally. Everybody's watching that. And of course, it's very much interest rate game globally. So we want to watch that. As always, at 10 a.m., we have the Baker Hughes oil rig count at 10 a.m. Pacific Coast time. So this week, as always, we have our stock idea of the week. I thought for this week, let's change the theme and talk about ETF of the week. And that ETF will be the iShares MSCI Saudi Arabia ETF. And the reason that I've chosen this is Saudi Arabia has been really the leading market this year to date. They've been hot. And of course, the main reason is the crude oil and the energy. So the country is not too sad, of course, about the price of crude oil. And they're not too sad also about the conflict in Europe, in Ukraine and Russia. They're really taking advantage of this, although they're trying to supposedly help the Western economies, but they are really enjoying this. So I thought, why not? If you are positive about the energy sector, and but you don't want to be directly involved with that, as far as, let's say, you can play XLE, for instance, for the sector, and all kinds of oil in the stocks, and also basically you could use USO ETF. Let's have a country that is really enjoying the GDP, is very much enjoying the GDP from this crude oil. So KSA, you can see its year to date is up 22.4%. And it's been, again, enjoying this uptrend. And when we look at the Investor Business Daily, one thing I pay attention is the relative strength rating is 94. So you can see we've had this nice uptrend. Again, if you're positive about Saudi Arabia, it is something that Saudi Arabia, as far as the crude oil prices, this could be a good play. Now, it is pretty liquid. They have average daily volume is 701,300. So basically, it's interesting when we look at from the technical sides, you see lots of greens. And when we want to analyze, going deep, what is this KSA? Basically, again, it was the largest, really, there's two ETFs as FLSIA, that the Franklin Templeton, very, very small compared to KSA. And as you can see, it's been around for almost 7 years, and there's 1.57 billion under management. So it is pretty liquid, although its expense ratio is up there, it's 0.74%. They do have 88 holdings. Now, this is interesting things. Although when we think about Saudi Arabia, we think about crude oil, believe it or not, the finance is 50% of this ETF, 50% components of this ETF. And then we have the process industries, non-energy minerals, and communication. So you see the energy side is only 5.5%. The idea is, again, a lot of Gulf countries, they decided to diversify many years ago. And as you know, when you think about Dubai, you think of the financial centers, and that's the same thing. That's what Saudi Arabia is doing. So, but it is, as I said, it's an energy play based on the country itself, the country's revenues. Otherwise, this is a pretty diversified ETF. And these are some of the big holdings. You see the top two are the banking. And then we have the Saudi Arabian oil company, and then the mining. So with that in mind, I hope that's helpful, something to look at. The options are very very, very limited. They do have options, but for instance, on Friday, they only had like 17 contracts traded hand. So basically, it's not an option play. This is more of an investment play. So it's a food for thought. You can put it on your watch list and see how it goes. With that in mind, again, I wish you a wonderful week ahead and look forward to seeing you following Sunday. Thank you so much.